Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending where you're watching from. My name's Zach. Welcome to the Launchpad. Here at the Launchpad, we cover everything space, space flight, space engineering, and the future of space. And tonight, we're excited to bring you our live coverage of the RocketLab Electron number 18 launch. Another one leaves the Crust. We are just standing by for RocketLab to begin their live feed, but from everything they've been releasing on Twitter, it does look like they have progressed through fueling and are still on target for an on-time liftoff. A little bit about more information about today's launch. So it is, again, the Electron rocket. They're going to be launching from Launch Complex 1A on the Bahia Peninsula. I apologize if I said that wrong, in New Zealand. We do know that the Electron rocket can carry a maximum of 200 kilograms or 440 pounds in it, but we don't know the weight of today's payload. Today's payload is for the European agency OHB group, and it's going to be launching one small single communication microsatellite that's going to enable frequencies to support future services from orbit. The launch will be Electron's or Rocket Lab's 18th Electron mission in their history. It's also going to be Rocket Lab's first launch for 2021, and it's also actually the second launch that has happened in any organization so far this year. We had SpaceX earlier in the week, and now we have Rocket Lab. The OHB Cosmos is responsible for launching the spacecraft built by the group's satellite manufacturers. Those are based in Germany, Sweden, and Czech Republic. And again, today's launch is going to be from the Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1 in New Zealand. They are not going to be recovering today's Electron rocket. The first stage will crash into the Pacific Ocean shortly after launch, and then the second stage will burn up. I believe in reentry, they haven't told us if they will be transitioning it to a satellite or not. But they're not recovering the stage today. Today is a polar orbit, so we're starting to see more of those. They're going to be launching into an inclination of 90 degrees for today's launch. So I'm just going to check here, as they have not gone live just yet, and we want to make sure we're not missing anything there. Not just yet, but everything's on Twitter still saying that they're still targeting a target liftoff time of 2044 New Zealand time, or 7:44 UTC, which is 2:44 a.m. Eastern or 11:44 p.m. Pacific. So if you are joining us from North, South, or Central America, good morning to most of you. Good evening to the far west. I'm personally in Mountain Time Zone, so it is early morning for me, but I'm excited to be here bringing you this live coverage of tonight's Rocket Lab Electron launch. About 3 hours ago, the launch director did give the go for LOX fill, and it's the liquid oxygen that gives the Electron actually its distinctive icy white stripes. So everybody says Electron is their favorite black rocket. It's a beautiful rocket, but when it's on the launch pad and it's getting ready for liftoff, it's more of a white rocket. And once we get the live feed here, you'll be able to see what they're talking about. But they did have a go for fueling, which means they're really are looking at going for everything today, and everything so far is showing that they are good. Weather, from what I have seen, looks good as well, but we are waiting to hear any updates from them. Now, Rocket Lab sometimes will show deployment, sometimes not. We're unsure if they were going to be showing us that today, but they'll let us know shortly prior to launch. So right now, they should be about to conduct the go, no-go poll for tonight's launch. The designated airspace safety zone will go into effect now as well. And the marine space zone should have gone into effect about an hour and a half ago. If you have any questions, comments, make sure to let us know in the chat. I am here. If you have a question, hopefully I have an answer. If not, we will find an answer for you. And we want to invite you back to the Launchpad here. Every Monday, we do an update video recapping everything that took place in the last week and everything that you can look forward to in the next 7 to 10 days. So make sure you hit that subscribe button to follow along with our channel and get updated about new videos or new live broadcasts. We were live this morning covering the Blue Shift first launch attempt with their new biofuel commercial rocket, the first ever commercial biofuel rocket. After some clouds kind of socked in the launch pad, they did scrub the flight after a long hold, and they have, I believe it's Tuesday or Wednesday next week, targeted for another attempt. So we'll bring that live to you as well. Lots of new exciting organizations coming into the industry with their first launch attempts or first customer launches. And then there's always the big ones with RocketLab, SpaceX, ULA, and a few others that we're excited to cover as well. We also do cover Starship, thanks to our friends at Espadre for the live feeds there. SN9 was going for a test flight scheduled for last week. Then this week, they had some great successful static fires earlier this week. They had 3 back-to-back in just about 4 hours. Elon did inform everyone that 2 of the engines do need to be swapped out and that there will need to be another static fire. So we are seeing a delay in Starship SN9, but we are waiting to see when they're scheduling that to happen. We invite you to join us on Twitter, but the best thing, join our Discord. You'll see the link in the description. We have some really great people in our Discord. It's a new part of our channel, and we do some live streams there as well. So we are sitting about 14 minutes to launch, so we should be seeing RocketLab come up here shortly. They were scheduled to go live about 10 minutes ago, but have not as of yet. But they did tweet that they were on schedule for going live for the scheduled launch attempt at about 16 minutes before the hour. Easier for everyone. 16 minutes before your hour. Right now, that is going to be when we are targeting launch for tonight's Electron rocket. Now, should for any reason they have to scrub today's launch, today was the start of a 10-day launch window, so it was not an instantaneous launch window. So they do have quite a bit of time that they can stop, recycle should they need to, wait for weather to clear to attempt this launch. This satellite will be going into a low Earth orbit, doing a polar launch with an inclination of 90 degrees. Again, tonight's launch will be from Launch Complex 1A in the Bahia Peninsula in New Zealand. RocketLab is working on their 2 more launch complexes, one in the United States as well as a second one on their peninsula, just to help them keep up and get more launches going so they can help support small organizations launching communication and science satellites for ease and reasonable price, as well as being able to do targeted launches like tonight. The Electron will be carrying 1 rocket, so they're really able to specialize this launch for that organization and what they are needing. So I'm going to pull up here just a little bit of what we can expect for today's launch, for the sequence of events following launch. So right now we're going to be sitting right about here, just before auto sequence begins with the go, no-go poll. That should have taken place already. We have not heard the results of that. At 2 minutes, the launch auto sequence begins and Electron starts to take over. With 2 seconds on the clock, the Rutherford engines ignite for liftoff at T0. Main engine cutoff from the Electron first stage occurs at 2 minutes, 30 seconds into flight, followed very shortly after by stage separation and the ignition of the stage 2 Electron Rutherford engine. Fairing separation occurs about 20 seconds later, and then at 6 minutes, 6 seconds into the flight, we'll have battery hot swap. So they'll be able to show us a bit more about that. The Electron carries a number of batteries for flight. Rather than switching batteries and carrying the dead weight, they switch the batteries and then they release and separate from the batteries that they no longer are using, which will just burn up in the atmosphere. 8 minutes, 45 seconds into flight, Electron will reach orbit, a successful orbit, and then 10 seconds later, stage 2 will separate from the kick stage. The Curie engine on the Electron kickstart will then ignite, and this is what is used to put the satellite into its final orbit. Engines about an hour and 9 minutes into flight, so quite a bit later, the Curie engines will shut off and the payload will be deployed. Now, this is the plans for tonight's launch. Generally speaking, RocketLab doesn't stay live all that time. Depending on if they are going to show payload deployment or not. So once they go live, we're going to keep an ear out to see if they're going to stay live to show deployment tonight, or if the OHB group has requested a private release and payload launch or payload deployment. A little bit more about the Electron vehicle. It's 18 meters tall, 1.2 meters in diameter, and it has 2 kick stages for it. So we've got the second stage and then the kick stage. The material of the Electron rocket is a carbon fiber composite, and it uses LOX and kerosene for its propellant. Now, you'll see in this image that it's a solid black rocket. That is because Electron is everyone's favorite little black rocket. But once they go live, you'll see that now that it's been filled with the LOX and kerosene, that there are 2 large, very clear white stripes on the rocket. This is showing you where the propellants have been loaded. The propellants are super chilled, so they can have more into the rocket to have a more efficient flight for it. Again, normal payloads are maximum up to 200 kilograms. We don't know today's weight of tonight's satellite, as that has been kept private by the OHB group. Fairing diameter is 1.2 meters with a height of 2.5 meters. The fairing SEP system is going to use their pneumatic unlocking and their springs. The stage 2 uses 1 Rutherford vacuum engine, and then the first stage uses 9 Rutherford sea level engines. So both Rutherford engines, which Electron developed, but one is optimized for being out of atmosphere, and then the rest are for sea level. So we're just going to check and see what RocketLab is saying here, as they have not gone live just yet, and they're supposed to be launching in about 10 minutes. I haven't said anything yet. I wonder if anyone's told them that they're not live. I know I've done that a few times, and you just have to hit another button. So we are going to see what they're going to do here. I'm going to pull this up here so you can see what I am seeing, but I'm going to make me big here. So we do have RocketLab here ready to go once they go live. We are sitting about 8 minutes until liftoff of tonight's Electron rocket. We are awaiting RocketLab to start their stream for tonight's launch. Oh, they did just tweet. They are standing down from today's mission to review sensor data. Fortunately, they have a 10-day window for this mission, so they've got lots of backup opportunities in the days to come. That explains why they have not gone live. I will pull this up here. So we are going to turn that one off and turn that one on. So there we go. That is another one. Just today, they just announced this, not even 60 seconds ago, that they are standing down from the attempt today. So we're going to wrap it up here, and we will keep you updated on our Twitter and our Discord when they are planning to go for another attempt. It is a 10-day launch window, so lots of time for them to do that. So thank you everyone for joining us here. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you know when we go live for future Rocket Lab launches as well as other organizations, and to be updated when we release our weekly update showing everything that happened in the last week and what to look forward to in the next 7 to 10 days. From here at the Launchpad, my name is Zach, signing off.